back, listeners, to the BizBlend podcast. I'm your host, Sana, as always. And in BizBlend, we discuss about business, purpose, personal growth colliding in the 20-minute conversations that we have that pack a punch for you. Now, today in this episode, we are diving deep into what it really means to turn adversities into purpose driven leadership. And my guest today is a true wave maker, someone who's not just riding the waves of change, but creating them. Listeners, meet Jeff Fisher. He's the founder of the Ride the Wave Foundation, author of Wave Maker, and the host of a wildly successful podcast that's racked up over 100,000 subscribers in just 6 months. And he's also the owner of NCK Equipment, serving critical industries like food, beverage, and pharmaceuticals. But listeners, what makes Jeff's story so powerful isn't just his success. It is the spark that started it all. One moment of human connection with a man named Daryl outside a convenience store turned into a movement that's transforming lives and redefining leadership through service. And this conversation is for anyone who's felt like the odds were stacked against them and needed a reminder that purpose can be born from pain and impact can start with one small act of courage. So let's ride the wave together. So, Jeff, welcome to the show, and it's such an honor having you with us.
Thank you so much, Senna, for such a lovely introduction. It's truly an honor to be on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. It's an honor to have you. And okay, so let's start with your story before we talk about the topic. So, uh, your story started with a single interaction that changed everything. And often in our lives, sometimes one moment or one epiphany or one interaction, it can really change the trajectory of our lives, personally or professionally. So can you please take us back to that moment and share how it became the catalyst for the Ride the Way Foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me, a little something in my throat. There's a few things that happened prior, but to get to Daryl, the catalyst, it was something that was amazing. And the spirit hit very hard. And what I learned from just our interaction, it's really important sometimes. And the wave is that spirit or that calling to check on other people and to be humane and to wear the shoes and to actually act it out. Because I think that this day and age, we tend to be a little bit transactional. So it was an interesting situation. I was walking across the street for where my mom lives, and there's a convenience store.
Okay.
As I was going in to get something to drink, I came out and felt something come over me to turn around and to knock on a window of an old beat up van that was there. And there was a man sleeping in it who was Daryl. I got to know him when I knocked on the window. So I responded. And it was a beautiful interaction because he was there for a while and I was a bit surprised nobody would check on him. It's where I grew up riding my bike. So our interaction was amazing, changed both our lives. And it really was the catalyst into eventually receiving the grand vision that we have at Ride the Wave, which is a really true blessing. So it goes to show small acts of kindness or just riding that wave could really turn into, and you never know, open up something fantastic if you do it.
Wow. Wow. That's such a beautiful moment summarized, Jeff. Um, s- so with your book, which is titled as Wave Maker, it is so powerful. But what exactly does it mean? What does it mean to you, Jeff? And how can others identify their own wave to ride? When everything right now is seeming so tumultuous.
Yeah. I feel like God has given me a formula through the interaction with Daryl and others that I've had within the community in Morristown, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So Wavemaker is a repurposed story of my interaction with Daryl with principles to teach people to do that, to connect to others. That's the Wavemaker. Somebody that goes out has the ability to confidently approach somebody, be friendly, and create those waves of people feeling good. Nowadays, you could be in line at Starbucks, you could be in line at a coffee shop. Somebody could be extremely depressed. Maybe they're gonna go kill themselves. That's a large percentage of that happening nowadays with everything that's going on. You connecting with them and introducing yourself, showing kindness goes a long way these days. And there's an energy to it. And everything else around that is distracting us from that. So, for example, just a couple principles in there. Radiate, how to radiate positivity when you walk into a room. Another one is the art of asking questions. It's really important, even if we feel like it's a stupid question, to ask them anyway. And to have the ability to be able to form a really good question so you could get to know somebody, but also so you can get various information is really important right now. So those certain social skills that people may be afraid of, fear is normal. That is what the purpose is of the book. And it's planting the seed right now for future training, wavemaker training to teach people more in depth how to do it. And it's truly a blessing, Senna, because when this was formed, it's hybrid. I formed it while I was seeking the culture of NCK equipment. Ray Marone, the founder, was a great mentor, really positive person all the time. He named the company after his three daughters, Nicole, Kathleen, and Kristen. Excuse me, Kristen and Kathleen. And just an amazing person. And early on, I said, I really want to form the culture of the company. I realized how important that was. So getting to the bottom of that, it was formed because him and I used to say, "You riding the wave?" Yeah, we're riding the wave. So to honor Ray in this, and also it ties in uniquely to our company, it fuels us. So cross marketing, ways to tie it in other ways. So it is a business leadership program that we're developing as well. So yeah, there's many different components. It's really fantastic.
That seems really interesting, Jeff. Really interesting. And yeah, I mean, one of the most highlighting part when I was reading your intro, 100,000 subscribers in just 6 months. I mean, uh, of course, you. I mean, it will be like, you have to reveal your secret sauce, but still, I would love to ask you, what mindset or strategy shifts did you make that helped your platform grow so quickly in just 6 months? 100,000, how?
Yeah, and we have our work cut out for us. So it's a newer platform. We were founded in 2023. It wasn't that following October. So, watch hours, things like that, we got to work on. There's definitely thumbnails, all that. But I think really the reason, Senna, is one, where this came from, but ultimately our grand commitment is to build an all-inclusive modern campus for people experiencing homelessness, a place where university style, they could be accepted, live on site, have all the resources, empowerment training, things that I've been blessed to have in the self-development and also business empowerment space. John Gordon, Jon Gordon, Damon West. You go to damonwest.org. Support with them has been invaluable during this process. So with that said, I think because we have such a great goal and everything Mark Robinson, the co-host, who's an unlikely friendship, and I work on, are all connected to the campus. So I think the show is forming nicely into a platform where anybody of any age, race, sex, creed, no matter who you are, you could share your story. It's also a place where people could showcase talent. So we've had somebody do spoken word and rap, things like that. It's forming into something great. We've had foundations on, we've connected foundations on the back end, and it's allowed us to develop relationships with foundations where Mark and I have volunteered. And we've done community outreaches. So we're trying to shatter the glass ceiling into the business development space, because I feel like God has given me a clear vision and I'm confident in my ability to lead this. And right now we're just at an early stage and we're going through the motions. So Mark, sometimes we feel like we're sitting in a rocket ship ready to take off and it's just a matter of time.
Mm. Wow, wow. That's definitely something, as a podcaster specifically, I definitely should. I'm taking seeking some inspiration from you, Jeff.
No, thank you so much, Senna. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's really something that's unique, but we figured If we could bring down and get and monetize the show, get some resources from that, get the book to a million copies, and we're gonna, have multiple revenue streams that we could see this thing through essentially.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's what exactly, is the soul of BizBlend. We talk about business, but then there's a purpose. There is a sense of fulfillment. It's profit with purpose. So I think, this definitely so much is one to seek inspirations, especially for all the entrepreneurs, founders, and even solopreneurs out there who are trying to make bring some change, bring some disruption. um Also, personally, you are balancing business, foundation, a podcast, and a book. So how do you stay grounded and aligned with your core mission amidst all these moving parts? Because from my experience, sometimes it really uh, gets tiring, if I frankly say tiring, and really very, very, confusing within. And that kind of, sucks up your energy, and really affects the performance. So how exactly do you balance everything, or harmonize everything rather?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So for me personally, faith is where the fight is. So my faith comes first. Just personally for me, I'm of Christian faith, but I, in the morning, my morning routine is key. Getting up, spending time with God, reading over certain things that align with me, journaling, staying grounded in that manner. It is a lot of moving parts, and also with NCK, we definitely have our fair share of struggles. However, because of it being such a grand vision that I have, it's really in our culture, NTK equipment and ride the wave. We know we've won. We know love won. And all we're doing is stepping into it. And it's just a matter of time. And I've had some things happen that were kind of interesting timing, to say the least, throughout this journey and process that I feel like God has put in front of me. So that right there is how I do it, and also relying on colleagues, friends, and families. I get a lot of support. Some of the best leaders in the country, in the world, they're humble,
Yep.
they ask for help, and that's something that I wanna, have a good quality of too, because I'm never gonna act like I know it all.
Yeah, yeah. Those are such, some of the, oh, I completely agree with each one of the quality you mentioned. They're so, so intrinsic to some of the best, in fact, mentors or managers I've actually worked with in my corporate career. They are humble. They never fear to seek for help. Uh, uh, Obviously, help others as well, and guide, and I mean, that is really, really such an important takeaway, especially for all the leaders and managers out there. Um, Also, before we wrap up, Jeff, let's take this from a different perspective. So, there is often a narrative that entrepreneurship is all about hustle and competition. Yet, your approach, it emphasizes community, compassion, and collaboration. So, how do you reconcile this tension between traditional business thinking and heart centered leadership?
Yeah, I think that the grind, pedal to the metal all the time to squeeze out anything is not really the way to go. It also depends on the mission and the purpose. So if the goal is to get just money, or if you want to get cars or material possessions and things like that, I think that you become a product of what you're focused on. Anthony Robbins said, energy flows where focus goes.
Yep.
So you're gonna get, and everybody worships something. So we're all worshiping something. It just depends on what you're doing. So I also think that what you're working on matters, and if you have a good purpose in the community, you're more likely to do it. But if servant leadership is the way to go, in my opinion, being compassionate, getting to know people, your employees, and helping them out the best way you can. Not just giving orders and letting it go, but getting to the bottom of loving your employees. And it's much more fun. And the energy, you get things done a lot better when you're in that certain state. And it's proven statistically that servant leadership works. So something like that is my approach. And people like John Gordon, jongordon.com, great influence for me. I'm trying to right now enter that space. So I think it's a matter of what your end goal is, what it's going to achieve, and then your mentality. But also, all the leaders start with themselves. So 100% is you. What did you eat that day? Working out, like things like that matter to your energy outside.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a very beautiful word you mentioned, servant leadership. That's
Yes.
such a beautiful um and also your story with it started with a single interaction that changed everything, and that is such an inspiring journey. But when we uh, talk about uh, in the business context, some leaders believe that purpose should follow profit, but your foundation, it leads with service first. That is at the essence of servant leadership. So have you ever faced any resistance or doubt from the business community about this approach, and if yes, then how exactly did you navigate through it?
So right now, there's not too much blocking us. I think that if we put the mission, the servant aspect first, the money is going to come, and the money is going to be the icing on the cake because we've developed something a bit unique to where there could be multiple revenue streams
Mhm.
potentially. Through my family, this gentleman, Michael, he is very well off and he's doing very well in his career. And he's been giving me advice and things like that. So there's definitely things that I have to put together and dig deep in the paperwork with the business end. So, there's not really, I can't prove a case because I don't have case studies. So that's my challenge now. My challenge right now is my mind is all scattered around. I see the visions. I have a bunch of paperwork. I'm trying to consolidate it to make it make sense and have the programs and everything on there. Right now, that's the kind of the tough part. And financially, resource wise, we're kind of going through the motions there. And I have a very small team. It's just Mark and I right now. And on the NCK side, it's Mark Hansen, the VP of sales, and myself. So we're a small company. So I'm confident that it's gonna be great. And we're going through this journey. Maybe it's a way to slow it down so we learn a lot along the way. That's the mentality we're gonna take. But I did get confirmation. It can operate at a high level. I have proof of that. It can make a lot of money. And I think that it has great potential to do so. And it could be a multi-million dollar organization. I've had that confirmed.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it's gonna be beautiful one day. Senna, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Ah, lovely, lovely. So, Jeff, if our listeners would like to connect with you and, uh, especially the leaders or, somebody who is really, really inspired to um, explore this journey of servant leadership, if they wish to connect with you, how they can.
Yeah, and I would love to talk to anybody. I'm the type of person that loves to brainstorm or anything like that at any time. And if you go to ridethewave.org, everything's on that website. We're gonna overhaul it eventually. I popped that up, didn't think this would go this fast. So if you go scroll down to the bottom to the contact page and fill that out, it goes directly to me. So you could just do that. All our social media is on there. You can buy the book, watch or listen to the podcast, explanation of our foundation, how it's founded, things like that. We're going to continue, like I said, to overhaul that. But that would be a great way that we can get in touch. And yeah, I hope to hear from anyone really to collaborate.
That's beautiful. I'll make sure to have all the links mentioned in the show notes. And Jeff, thank you. Thank you so much for showing us what it means to turn adversity into action and how one person, uh, with the right heart and vision can start a wave that changes lives. I mean, it's a ripple effect. So there's still a lot to hope for the future. So I would encourage all of our listeners, if you have been moved by today's conversation, to check out Jeff's podcast and his book Wave Maker. And also, I'll have all the links in the show notes for all of you. And Jeff, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful conversation.
Cindy, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And listeners, a little message from my end: you don't have to wait for the perfect moment to make a difference. Sometimes the wave you are waiting for is the one you create. So, this is BizBlend with your host Sana. Until next time, keep blending business with purpose. Thank you.